All right, I am going to review this WrestleMania 10 WWE Magazine History of WrestleMania Special Edition. Since it's WrestleMania season now, we have Yokozuna, Lex Luger, Macho Man, Undertaker, and Bret Hart on the cover. Funny enough, Hulk Hogan ended up taking the title at this WrestleMania. He's not on the cover. Look at these toys that are coming out. The Yokozuna one would have been a rare one. I don't remember seeing that one here in Canada. King of the Ring. Prepare for battle. The second annual King of the Ring. Was never a fan of the King of the Rings. I've never been a fan of the tournaments. Right at Madison Square Garden, side to the first WrestleMania. And then there's a little collage. Mr. T with Piper over his shoulders. Beefcake with the Honky Tonk Man. The WrestleMania 9 Caesar's Palace setup. Greg Valentine with Junkyard Dog. Macho Man. And then a shot of WrestleMania 3. Oh, sorry. I was confusing WrestleMania 9 with WrestleMania 10. Sorry, I'm crazy. Or maybe it's just too early in the morning. It was WrestleMania 9 where Hulk Hogan ended up winning the title. WrestleMania 10 was totally different, as I'm sure we'll get into. WrestleMania 9 was when Bret fought Yokozuna, then Hogan took the title. Mr. Fuji threw the salt in Bret's eyes, and then Hulk Hogan ended up emerging victorious. I had those two confused. Brutus Beefcake with his face mask smashing Ted DiBiase into the corner. Remember there was that one gimmick Brutus did where he attacked Earthquake with a mask? I'm not sure if it was before or after this, but nothing ever ended up coming out of it. He wasn't Brutus Beefcake, and then he ended up coming back as the Mega Maniacs here with Hulk Hogan. Shawn Michaels with Luna Vachon. Shawn Michaels and Tatanka going at it at WrestleMania 9. Tatanka is known as one of the smelliest wrestlers in the business. Giant Gonzalez against The Undertaker in Gonzalez's famous bodysuit. Doesn't look like he was a Manscaped user, judging by the bodysuit, if it reflects him at all. Crush against Doink, which I think was Doink's most memorable feud, the double Doink at WrestleMania 9. Grandma Daisy, yes, R.I.P. Luna. Mr. Perfect took on Lex Luger, WrestleMania 9. Lex Luger was looking great there. The Head Shrinkers against the Steiner Brothers. I did like the setup they had for WrestleMania 9. Bob Backlund against Razor Ramon. Bob Backlund, I have an interview with on this channel. Sadly, he seems to be dealing with some dementia issues. WrestleMania 8, very underrated WrestleMania. Macho Man against Ric Flair. Again, I watched Charlotte Flair's Broken Skull sessions where she said that Flair was never in the main event. Savage against Flair was the main event of WrestleMania 8. It was a double main event, but the Savage Flair match was one of the best matches of all time. Ivan says, where's the WrestleMania vibe this year? It's underwhelming this year for sure. I hear Batista might be going in the Hall of Fame, though. He won't be wrestling, but he's probably going in the Hall of Fame. Elizabeth coming down the aisle at WrestleMania 8. That was a great feud. And supposedly Flair bladed himself, as we see Flair with the blood without consent. and so did Bret Hart apparently too, I believe. Or Bret may have done it. Sorry, Bret did it in the British Bulldog match at In Your House, not in the Piper match. I don't think. Typhoon against IRS, Money Inc. against the Natural Disasters. I just interviewed Typhoon. Grandma Daisy's favorite was when Doink beat Crush at WrestleMania 9. That's probably Doink's most famous match. I never liked Doink as a babyface. Typhoon probably made a big mistake leaving WWE because he was getting a good push in WWE with Money Inc. And his WCW career was only remembered for the blunder. But I guess he's getting a lot of toys out of the Shockmaster deal, so he's profiting over it in the end. Undertaker against Jake the Snake. That was actually a good match. Big Boss Man, Sergeant Slaughter, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and Virgil against the Nasty Boys, the Mountie, and the Repo Man. It's too bad they got rid of Demolition. Demolition deserved better. El Matador versus Shawn Michaels. I do remember that. Apparently they had real backstage heat as well. Skinner against Owen Hart. And Tatanka against Rick the Model Martel. Maybe not the best overall quality of matches. WrestleMania 7. This was a really good one. Sergeant Slaughter against Hulk Hogan. Sergeant Slaughter was fairly old at this point too, getting like a last hurrah. It is funny though how quickly Sergeant Slaughter fell after this. I mean, he went from main eventing WrestleMania 7 to what was it, being in a 4-way tag match at WrestleMania 8. But I'm sure he made his money. Ultimate Warrior against Macho Man. For everyone that says Macho Man, or for everyone that says Warrior was a bad worker, this was one of the greatest matches ever. Warrior against Macho Man. And again, Elizabeth with her surprise return. So sad about Elizabeth. How she passed away. Virgil against Ted DiBiase. WrestleMania 7. Virgil was over a bit at this point. Mr. Perfect against the Big Boss Man. So many of these guys are gone with Andre interfering. Undertaker against Jimmy Snuka. And the blindfold match with Jake the Snake against the Model. And of course, the Mountie against Tito Santana. This was a great WrestleMania 7. Earthquake against Greg Valentine, which apparently Greg Valentine was pissed at having to do the job there. There's Hand Towel, who actually shot on Earthquake in a match in Japan. The Rockers against Barbarian Haku. WrestleMania 6. This was another great match of the Warriors and Hogan. For people that said they couldn't work, this was a great match. Ultimate Warrior against Hulk Hogan from the Sky Dome with the pyro at the end. And if you listen to Brutus Beefcake and Hulk Hogan's version, nobody. Okay, let's look at the crowd here. Let's zoom in. I think they're looking at the Warrior. When you listen to Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake's version of this, they said Warrior won the title and everyone watched Hulk Hogan leave the ring. The way they like to spin history is Hogan was never over. Did Hand Towel pass away? Oh, so sad. Seriously, it's always sad when people pass away, but I don't know much about him, so I'm not going to pretend that I'm upset over it. Other than that he shot on John Tenta, who seemed like a really good guy. Colossal Connection, Haku and Andre the Giant against Demolition. Only 2 WrestleManias later, Barry Darso was Repo Man. Sapphire. I guess Sapphire died. It's too bad shoot interviews didn't exist when Sapphire got released. I would have been interested to hear her version of that whole deal. I remember there was supposed to be a house show around this time here in Ottawa. There was a house show. There was supposed to be a Sapphire against Sensational Sherry match, but it never happened. It was advertised and did not take place. Akeem going at it with the Big Boss Man, which could have been a bigger feud. Roddy Piper against Bad News Brown with his. This would not go well today. This makeup would definitely not go well today. But that's only really a recent thing. And I'm not really sure what he meant by doing that, to be honest with you. Hacksaw Jim Duggan against Dino Bravo. The Hart Foundation against the Bolsheviks. Earthquake against Hacksaw. Rick Rude against Jimmy Snuka. There were celebrities on hand. WrestleMania 5. This was my first WrestleMania as a fan. The Mega Powers exploding. Another great match for people that I'll give Hogan his due. He was a great worker. Like, this match was an amazing match. This match, Warrior against Rick Rude, was also amazing. Andre the Giant against Jake the Snake. Powers of Pain against Demolition. This is a pretty long book. Bushwhackers against Rougeau Brothers. Hercules against King Haku. WrestleMania 4 was another tournament, which I remember this. It's funny because you had 2 video cassettes for this one because it was 4 hours long. And now the WrestleManias have been as long as 7 hours, and people thought 4 hours was too long back then. But WrestleMania 4 was not one of the better WrestleManias, in my opinion. Hogan versus Andre rematch. And, of course, Macho Man won the title. WrestleMania 4. Ultimate Warrior took on Hercules. Strike Force against Demolition. And Bad News Brown turning on Bret Hart. And these two did not get along. These two did not like each other in real life. As much as Bret Hart likes to say he never hurt anyone, Bad News would have told you differently. Bad News said that Bret Hart hurt him. Dynamite apparently got hurt by Bret Hart too. But I guess Bret doesn't count his rookie years. Some merchandise here, drawings of wrestlers. I don't know if I would have won that. A Doink shirt. Mike D, how badly, if you're still watching, would you have wanted one of these Doink shirts? My God, could you imagine wearing this jean jacket today? How uncool that jean jacket would be. I remember Vince would wear that Monday Night Raw jacket. That's pretty cool. The Lex Luger shirt, the Razor shirt. Ico Pro. According to Al Snow, the Ico Pro tablets caused really bad gas, and Marty Jannetty would purposely take those tablets when he wanted to stink places up. WrestleMania 3, Andre against Hogan. Adrian Adonis against Roddy Piper. I still find it funny that when Adrian looked like this, he was bullying people because he doesn't seem that intimidating when he got to that point. Definitely 3 was one of the better ones. Slick getting his butt kicked there. Slick did a really good shoot interview with me. Worth checking out. Of course, Billy Jack Haynes against Hercules. Billy Jack was talking to me last night. Those lovely ice cream bars. Hillbilly Jim, one of the nicest wrestlers I've ever interviewed. Oh, Grandma Daisy has the Doink shirt. And I'm sure she wears it every day. WrestleMania 2, Hogan against Bundy. This was an okay WrestleMania. I did not like it as much as WrestleMania 1 or 3. Andre the Giant in his yellow tights. Mr. T against Piper. Jake with Damien, which apparently one of his snakes died. He left it out in the car when it was cold. It froze to death. WrestleMania 1 featuring Muhammad Ali, Paul Orndorff, who I did his last shoot interview with, Pat Patterson, guest referee. These two apparently did not like each other in real life, Andre the Giant and Big John Studd. Tito Santana against the Executioner. Greg Valentine, who I have a shoot interview with, against Junkyard Dog. Oh, and Grandma Daisy, I'm so sorry. There's no pictures from Ricky Steamboat against Matt Bourne, which I think was the very first ever WrestleMania match. Let me double check on that. It was one of the first, if not the first. Strangely enough, I don't. Oh, okay, maybe it wasn't the first. I'm pretty sure it was one of the first though. Ricky Steamboat against Matt Bourne. I'd have to rewatch it. $39.95 each to order these WrestleManias. Anyways, yeah, it was first. Thanks, JM. And let's look at this. What video game is this? Terminator 2 for Super Nintendo. So there you go. Trip down memory lane. Good to know the Pontiac Silverdome no longer exists. Well, I'm checking out, guys. Thanks for joining me on this memory lane trip. Have a great day. Subscribe.